So I'm going to start off the project with this bit of laburnum. It's a bit rotten in the centre, but hopefully it should be okay. Let's get it set up in the lathe. It's not too bad, okay. It's set up in the lathe now, and I'm going to turn it down to a nice cylindrical shape to get rid of all the bark and stuff that I don't want. Laburnum is poisonous, so you need to wear a respirator when working with this stuff. I've had a bit of a clean up, and the piece of wood looks really nice. I think it's got a nice grain structure. There is a bit of a problem here, which is probably what's caused the rot down the centre. There's a knot, and I found that with this laburnum, or this actual tree, every time that something was cut off, it would rot from where the branch was cut off. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. I've got an idea of what it's going to be, so let's have a look. I'm going to turn down this tenon now. For my chuck, the best size tenon is around about 60mm, so I'm going to make a tenon about 60mm in diameter. Right, I'll move on now and fit this into the chuck. Now, we're doing the same again on the other side. I've come up with a design, and what it's going to be is, this bottom piece is going to be the base that's going to be turned straight in. This is going to be a bit of a bulbous shape, curving off to a cut here where another piece will be joined on. I've got my basic shape. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to part it here and attempt to turn out the inside of this. Then I'm going to see what I can do with it, whether I keep it as wood or make it something else. My original idea was to make it from something else. I just thought I'd turn that down to see what it was going to look like. Right, I'm now going to attempt to turn the inside of that out. Hopefully it'll go alright. It's a bit rotten in the centre, but it should be okay. I'm just going to measure the depth that I want it to go to, and it's about 7.5 centimetres. I'll just mark that on the mandrel and then we'll drill it back out. I'm just going to hollow the rest of this out. Yeah, I think that's okay. I'm just putting this here to see what's it going to fit like, and it looks like it can go back on. I'll turn the inside out, glue it back on, and then have a bit of resin around here. Possibly a bit more resin around here. I think it'll look alright. It wasn't what I was going to do. I was going to completely make a new one of these out of segmented bits, but I think this will look alright. I'm going to sand it up a bit now, and it will be ready for some resin. The next stage is to put some grooves in for where the resin is going to go. So I want the resin to cover this join. So we'll have some in there. I think I might want a band of resin across the apex of that. Then I want some on here, on this base, like a ring running round there like that. Right, I've marked them out, so I'm going to now cut them out. I made the mould out of plastic laminating sheets and hot glue. I haven't shown it on the video because it took too long. It took over an hour to do. Okay, I've mixed the resin up and now I'm going to colour it. I'm using some bronze powder. Give that a good mixing. I'm going to have bronze at the top, gold in the middle and bronze at the bottom. Because of the shape of the mould, I'm going to put the resin in with a syringe. Hopefully there will be no leaks. That's the bottom one done. There doesn't appear to be any leaks. Oh yeah, there's one leak here. I'm just going to put a bit more hot glue on that area. Hopefully it'll seal it up. I just wet my finger and flattened it out. That should probably be okay. Okay, that looks like it's about it. Any leaks? No leaks. That's good. Alright now, for the top one. It's bronze again, a bit more resin needed this time. Okay, I think that's about it. I've got one little leak, which I can't do anything about. We'll have to see how that impacts later on, but I don't suppose it'll make much difference. Other than that, it looks alright. It's the next day now, and I'm going to remove the resin mould. Okay, that's it. Doesn't look too bad. Some glue to remove and then that'll be it. So this is what it looks like with the mould and the glue removed. I'm just going to see if I can turn it down, see if we can clean it up a little bit. Well, there was a problem when I started the lathe up. It was way off balance. So it must have changed shape over the last couple of days. I fitted this chuck in at the other end to hold it on the tenon. That should have straightened it up a bit. It looks a lot better than it did anyway. Well, it seems to be turning okay, so I think I'll just carry on and take the resin down. Right, it's a new day in the shed, and we're going to start off today with some sanding. I'm going to go from 80 to probably 600. See what it comes up like. The whole thing has been sanded to 600, and I've noticed there's a couple of issues. There's two little cracks that have appeared whilst it's been drying out. That'll do some superglue treatment. And now I'm going to clean up the resin parts with some cutting compound. That seems to have done a nice job, and where it's gone on the wood, it seems to have improved it. So, I think I'm going to do the whole lot with it. Right now, I need to look at these cracks with use of superglue. I've got some of this Tree Frog oily glue, which is superglue of some sort. I'm going to try that on it. Maybe that wasn't the best idea, using that accelerator. Okay, I'm just going to sand all that off. I need to turn the job around so that I can drill out the base and make room for my maker's logo. I've measured how far I need to go in, which I've worked out to be 35mm. I'm starting off with a 33mm Forstner bit, and I will be moving up to a 50mm. Okay, so it wasn't working with just the Forstner bit, so I fitted on the old steady. It doesn't seem to be anywhere near as much vibration now. Now I'm ready to take it up to the last size. I've turned the job around now, and I'm going to try and drill out the neck end. Right, so we're all the way through. I'm going to now turn the funnel out of the front of the vase. It's going to come round like that to meet up with this part here. I've masked up the top with masking tape because I'm going to paint the inside black. So I've painted inside, and now I'm going to remove the masking tape so that I can see what it looks like. It looks like there's a bit of cleaning up to do. Well, I've cleaned it up, and now I'm going to give it a few coats of lacquer. It's already starting to look nice. The lacquer's really starting to bring up the grain in that wood. It's looking really good. I'm not happy with the gold resin. I've had all weekend to think about it, and I've decided that I'm going to take the gold resin out and replace it with some turquoise resin and also a ring of pewter. To do that, I'm going to have to part it here, so I can put the pewter ring in. Then I'll turn this bit of gold resin out. I've got it running true, and I'm just going to hot glue this tailstock steady in. This is so I can line it all back up again after I've cut it. Well, I've mixed up my resin and I've used turquoise, green and gunmetal grey. As I did last time, I'm going to use a syringe to put the resin into the mould. I've got a few pewter tankards that I got from the charity shop, which I'm going to melt down to make the pewter ring. Okay, so I'm just going to be removing all the dross from the pewter. I made this little mould out of some plywood. Okay, so that's 2 tankards worth of pewter in there. Right, I'm just going to make some flat faces on the pewter ring. It's another new day, and it's time to remove the mould from the resin. Okay, so resin still feels a little bit soft. Right then, let's see how well this resin is going to turn down. I'm going to try and glue the pewter ring on now, so we'll see how that goes. I'm using super glue and the ball will keep it in place with the tailstock while it sets. Time to glue on the other end. Okay, I think I'll leave this to dry now. Have another go tomorrow. Right, well, it's the start of yet another day, and I'm going to finish off turning the pewter and resin down. The pen is to colour some grooves I cut in the pewter. I'm going to turn down the base to where I want it to be. Time for the lacquering process. Probably about 6 coats in all, and sanded between coats. The reason I use lacquer on my projects is because if it's done right, you can get such a great finish, almost glass-like. I've finished with all the lacquering and all that's left is to fit my maker's logo. Well, that's it.